Welcome to Boomer Bongo Boulevard. I'm Mike, along with me, my brother, Ron, Ron. Smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get 30 subscribers. We're getting there. I think we got 26, Ron. And
I think we can do 30.
I think
30 is achievable.
We're shooting for 30. It's not probable, but it's not impossible.
No, not at all.
And it's March. And this is it's season 2, Ron, and this is episode 10. So we're moving right along.
We are moving right along.
We're getting deep into the year here of
we're getting deep into something.
Yeah, we are. What we're doing tonight, as we look back on Boomer Life, is we're looking at some TV stars that were particular favorites of ours. I've got 2, and Ron's got 2. One guy and one girl, and I also have a song of the week. We've kind of eased away from song of the week because we've been doing so much music. But I've got a song of the week, and if you don't have one,
I can riff, do one off the top of my head, no big deal.
Okay, good. Well, I've got a really good one though.
Who knows? I may even write one on the spot. You never know.
Well, first we want to hear your choice for. You want to do your female or your male first?
Oh, the male. Got to do the male because it just kind of leads into the female.
Okay, go ahead then.
All right. My male is, this was my guy growing up in the 70s. He's still probably a favorite of a lot of people. He may even have been a favorite in the 80s because he had a hit show in the 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. One of those rare people. And that's the man, Lee Majors, and here I am getting his autograph on my season 3 $6 Million Man DVD cover.
Wow!
And let's see, right here is the there's like a little coin that came with the ticket. It's the Bionic reunion. Him and the Bionic woman were there, but I didn't care about her.
You know, hey Ron,
I like that he signed it Colonel Steve Austin, Lee Majors.
Oh, sure. Sure. Hey, I don't know this for 100%, but I believe when he was finishing up his run on the Big Valley, I think the $6 Million Man came in as a mid-season replacement, I think. And for a little while, he was on both shows at the same time.
Well, actually, he did. I thought he just did the one TV movie. They did three TV movies before they started the series. It was like they were kind of trying to figure out what they wanted to do. You could see them kind of playing with it,
right?
And it's funny now. I don't know if you knew this or not, but they played around with how they were going to make the Bionics look because they were like, well, should we do it in fast motion, which is what they did first. They had him in fast motion.
Right.
But then the guy who was the producer, I'm trying to remember his name. Can't remember it offhand. But anyway, he was one of the producers of Star Trek. I'm sure all the Trekkies know who he is. And it was his idea after he's watched NFL films to use their technique to film Steve Austin running. He thought that slow motion would be much more effective, and it turned out it was. Because he thought because they used a different, like was it faster film, and it had that just had that majestic look that they were looking for, and of course, with the great music that they usually played, it just kind of worked. But Lee Majors was actually, that's not his real name. He was born Harvey Lee Geary was his name.
What?
Kind of had a Harvey Lee Geary.
Oh, so Lee is part of his name at least.
Yeah. But I love this where he got the second part of his name.
Harv Majors.
He admired Johnny Majors and decided to go with Majors
as a football player.
Because
Johnny Majors later on a coach.
Yeah, because Lee Majors was a football player. He and this is interesting. Now I knew that he lost his parents. I didn't realize that his father died in a work accident before he was even born.
Wow.
5 months before he was born, and then like when he was 17 months old, his mother died in a car accident.
Dang.
So he was an orphan, and he had to go live with his aunt and uncle. Harvey and Mildred Yeary in Middlesboro, Kentucky, because he was originally, let's see, I had it written down where he was born. He was born in Michigan in 1939.
Wow.
So he went from Michigan to Kentucky.
The hills of Kentucky.
Yeah, and that's where he got into football.
Bluegrass.
And he got a football scholarship to Eastern Kentucky.
Okay.
And
pretty legit.
1959, blew out his knee though, and immediately got interested in acting. And he was thinking about becoming a football coach, but then he, decided he liked acting, so he kind of went that way.
Hey, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you address this though? Going back to the $6 million man and the slow motion, what genius came up with?
Stop for a minute.
What's going on? What's happening?
Okay, we're back. We just had a failure for a minute. I had to reconnect.
Oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to know what genius came up with when he was doing his slow motion stuff.
I don't know exactly. I saw that one time on one of the DVDs on the extras, but I cannot remember who it was that came up with. But they played around with that. They didn't do that until I think it was about the third or fifth episode, something like that. And they weren't sure even when to use it because they would kind of do it sporadically at different times, and before they finally decided that was his sound.
Well, all I know is they had every little kid in America running around making that noise for years. Well, there were probably kids actually playing in football games that were making tackles going.
Oh yeah, would
have been great. Okay, you know who mine is?
Who's that?
Here we go. My guy. This is not going to take long.
All right.
Sports, like Lee Majors, athletic, Chuck Connors, the Rifleman. We've talked about Chuck Connors before, the Rifleman. And this is tied into my female that I'm working, nominating for my favorite TV star as well. But Chuck Connors' Rifleman ran from 1958 to 1963, so it's pushing the back end of the old black and white era of TV that went on, from the time TV came on in, I guess, the late 40s until the middle 60s, maybe late 60s. But 58 to 63, Chuck Connors, of course, professional athlete, played the mythical Rifleman who and back then, by the way, 5 years was a good run for a TV series.
4 years was a good run.
Absolutely.
$6 million man ran 5 years. Yeah. So, that was a good long time for a show back then because they made like 30 shows a year or more.
Right.
Sometimes almost 40.
Yeah, you produce enough shows, they have a good syndication run in 5 years. But the Rifleman, of course, Chuck Connors had been a professional athlete with the Boston Celtics and a baseball player with the Los Angeles Dodgers, one of the few athletes who played 2 professional sports. He was, a perfect pick. And as a matter of fact, I've always kind of thought if they brought the Rifleman back, if you did a Rifleman one show, I always thought Peyton Manning would be great as the Rifleman. Wouldn't that be funny? See Peyton Manning just play it. And hey, he could do all the athletic stuff, all the twirling of the rifle, but the Rifleman, legendarily, Chuck Connors went in to audition for the role, and he brought a baseball bat, and as part of his audition, he twirled the baseball bat around to show them that he would be able to handle a rifle, and he did. One of the most fun things about the Rifleman was the way Chuck Connors spun that rifle around and brought it up to bear when he fired it. He rarely just brought it straight up. He'd do that little twirl and then bring it into position so that he cocked it and had it ready when he finally leveled it. And it was just a lot of fun. Great show. Johnny Crawford, got to give a nod to him as being in the show. But really, Chuck Connors was the actor that was very compelling, interesting looking. Nobody else really looked like him. And he had another successful show after the Rifleman, Branded, which was on for several years. And once again, though, just that boy, it just looked like a tough guy. He's not. He almost looked like Frankenstein. The Frankenstein.
The word I always think of him for him is stoic.
Stoic. The stoic Chuck Connors. And I'm going to talk about him again a little bit later when I talk about my female star. But let's go with your female star.
Well, I knocked around quite a few actually, and I just finally, when I was writing stuff about Lee Majors, I just went, I just kind of led right into old Farrah, who used to be known as Farrah Fawcett Majors.
She was a real trailblazer. She truly was.
She she had a run-in with another icon of the 60s and 70s. Had the famous Noxzema Joe Namath commercial. Goes, I'm gonna get creamed, and let Noxzema cream your face. She's putting cream on his face.
Sure.
Woo. And I had to stick with the. Because she's from Texas, had to go with that too. So
and she's not a
tiebreaker.
She
Corpus Christi to be exact.
Well, she did the poster, the iconic
poster, yeah,
and really kind of trailblazed that. And there were other actresses that followed in that. And this dirty little secret about Farrah Fawcett was she turned out to be a pretty good actress.
Uh-huh.
She won awards later on for some of her TV movies.
I was going to wrote it down. It was she kind of went through that thing after leaving Charlie's Angels, which that kind of happened to a lot of women back then. Which one of my other finalists for my favorite would Suzanne Summers. When they tried to make more money, they just kind of got flicked to the side,
right.
And and kind of got a bad rep and didn't work for a while. And that happened to both of them actually. And she kind of became like a punchline for a little while, but then she made a comeback on Broadway in a show called Extremities, which was about
right.
abuse and all that, and they made a TV movie about it. She got an Emmy nomination for that, and also The Burning Bed was another one.
Right. I had mentioned that, but I think I talked over you and you didn't hear it. But that's what I remember about her, is doing that comeback in The Burning Bed, and boy, everybody raved about what a great actress she was. And she, I guess, you go back and maybe you kind of look over, and Kate Jackson got a lot of credit for being the serious one and the great actor and the better actor of the three on the original show. But I'm not sure Jacqueline Smith. Of course, we're not really talking about Charlie's Angels, but we're talking about Farrah Fawcett. But yeah, the icon of maybe all TV icons. Who else compares to Farrah Fawcett? Maybe
nobody in the 70s.
No, she dominated as far as being a TV icon. But I was thinking of the Friends from Friends, who married. Come on, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston's probably the only person that would compare to her as far as having the hairstyle that every woman
that's true.
wanted.
Well, there was quite a few people that had hairstyles, and I always thought it was funny that playing her mother was another iconic actress, Marlo Thomas, another one with an iconic hairstyle with the flip.
Oh, that's true. You're talking about Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
So, but probably the first big time TV icon for just her looks and her hair and her influence, except for this woman who precluded Farrah Fawcett.
Mary Tyler Moore, I'm guessing.
Tyler Moore, Ron. Mary Tyler Moore. Who could turn the world on with her smile.
Yes.
Who could take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile.
And throw her hat completely out of the picture.
Take over Minneapolis. Mary Tyler Moore, of course, her breakthrough show was the Dick Van Dyke Show that was on for 10 years, and it roughly paralleled the Rifleman. And I'm sorry, not for 10 years. The Dick Van Dyke Show was on 1961.
Those pants too. She was one of the first women that ever wore pants on TV.
Right. Well, 1961 to 1966, and I tied her into the Rifleman. I tied her into Chuck Connors because Chuck Connors was known, or his series, The Rifleman, was known because it was one of the first TV series to present a single father. They'd always
Oh
been,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
mothers and, husbands and wives raising children. And there he was, the single father raising the child. And then Mary Tyler Moore, not too much later. Actually, there's a little overlap there of about two and a half, 3 years, where the two series. And Mary Tyler Moore is depicting. Well, I'm sorry, that's the Dick Van Dyke Show. She's playing the modern wife.
Yeah.
You're moving things up into the more of the present day and how we look at women. Although she didn't work, she in the Dick Van Dyke Show she didn't work, but later on in the Mary Tyler Moore Show she played that single working woman that was in the color side of it. I don't know, Mary Tyler Moore, what, early 70s, I guess. I didn't look up the year for
69
that.
to 77, I think.
Okay, all right, there you go. So followed up, pretty closely on the heels of the Dick Van Dyke Show, which ended in 1966.
Yeah,
and then and then there she was, and I mean, come on, wasn't she like kind of everybody's crush on TV? I mean, that's how she got. She was 26 when she started the Dick Van Dyke.
Wow.
And then later on was a pretty serious actress. She never quite reached the heights she did in the Mary Tyler Moore Show and
Ordinary
Dick Van
People
Dyke
was
Show.
probably her apex.
Yeah, but she was in a great movie called Ordinary People and played a bitch wonderfully. Kind of scared people. They were like, "Wow, is she really like that?" And just really a pretty amazing career for Mary Tyler Moore. Nobody ever forgot about her either. People never forgot about her, even though.
And it is the trope I brought up before with women on television, and usually attractive women. It's the old trope of being kind of like a loser. She always played sort of a loser.
Yeah, I guess
she did on the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
She certainly did on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Yeah, everybody's kind of trampling her.
On Seinfeld, Elaine always played a loser.
Yeah,
it's like if you're attractive and you're a woman on television, they have to put a flaw on you, or nobody's going to like you.
Right.
You come off arrogant or something, I guess.
Well,
I don't know why. Though, that's the way it is.
We kind of tied to Farrah Fawcett, and I think it's a pretty good connection because before there was Farrah Fawcett, there was Mary Tyler Moore. She was Farrah Fawcett without the poster. All she needed was the poster because women went into hair salons and said, "Hey, I want my hair to look like Mary Tyler Moore's. I want to wear those capri pants like Mary Tyler Moore wears.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Capri. Yeah, and I want to I want to dress. I want to wear those flat shoes like Mary Tyler Moore wears." And she used to wear the little. Like, you've got some real interference going on there.
I do.
And
somebody's trying to be a guest.
Yeah, that's what it is. So at any rate, I mean, I think it's a pretty good matchup. Chuck Connors and Steve Austin a little later at the time, and then Mary Tyler Moore. And that, I never, until we kind of mentioned those two together, I never really connected Mary Tyler Moore with Farrah Fawcett. But I think there's a pretty strong connection between those two. They're both just iconic TV stars, and during the '60s, if you ask somebody, well, who's the most popular woman on TV, the most popular actress, I guess it'd be Lucille Ball and Mary Tyler Moore. But Mary Tyler Moore was the one. Women did not go into beauty salons and say, "Hey, dye my hair orange and pile it on top of my hair like Lucille Ball." They just didn't.
No,
I don't think anybody wanted to look like Lucille Ball.
No,
So anyway, you got a song of the week?
No, not really, unless you go with "I'm the Unknown Stuntman" for the theme of the Fall Guy by Lee Majors.
I've got a good one. About that same time period, the '60s, black and white TV, iconic singers, kind of massaging their way into the future, but still with a foot firmly planted in the past. Petula Clark, "Downtown." You familiar with that song?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Oh man, I really wasn't a big fan of "Downtown." I like the song. It's a very catchy song. By the way, Frank Sinatra covered it and did a pretty good job with it. Did not have a hit with it, but I think it appeared on one of his albums. But Petula Clark, for some reason, I had a little crush on Petula Clark when I was a little kid. I just thought I think it was the British accent and the hairstyle and the way she presented herself and just everybody seemed to like her. You know, when they would have her on the variety shows, all the male hosts seemed to have a little crush on her too, and I guess it was contagious. And that song was everywhere. Number 1 in the United States on the U.S. Billboard charts, and number 2 on the U.K. charts. And that was, see what year that was. That was, well, you know what? I don't have a year for the song. But I'll tell you what I do have. It was in the 60s. Oh, 1965. It was 1965. So right in the middle of the Beatles and all those songs. But you know what else? Petula Clark is still alive. And she's 92. And she, up until recently, would occasionally perform in public and was pretty good. If you want to get on YouTube, you can find videos of her singing live and doing pretty well, a lot better than Barbra Streisand does when she sings in public.
I now have a song.
What?
And it mentions your girl. Probably the only one that mentions her.
Okay.
It's a song by Weezer called Buddy Holly. It's the one where it's got the Happy Days gang and Fonzie and everything incorporated into the video. And the line is, ooh, look, I look just like Buddy Holly. You look like Mary Tyler Moore.
That's right. That's right. Good choice. Yeah. I'm going to have to look that one back up and listen to it after we finish here.
Weezer, Buddy Holly.
Yeah, nice. Mary Tyler Moore. And, who can forget Mary Tyler Moore's name? I think of all the 4 stars, I like Mary Tyler Moore better than any of them. She's such a TV figure.
Man, I can't believe Dick Van Dyke's still alive.
Yeah,
he'll be 100 in December.
Dick Van Dyke should date Petula Clark.
Dick Van Dyke, and I can't. All right, I have never seen Mary Poppins until a few weeks back.
Wow.
Never saw it. Classic movie, never saw it. But it's just amazing to me that Dick Van Dyke and Julie Andrews are both still alive.
They are.
From a 1964 movie, and the leads are still alive. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. And that is true. That's right. And Carol Burnett.
Everybody but Coach is still alive from Cheers. That's even more unbelievable.
I want to connect. I always want to connect Julie Andrews with Carol Burnett because they were very good friends.
Yeah.
Still are. I think.
Somebody else still alive.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I made that mention too when we were watching the movie. I was talking about them both being alive, and I'm like, and one of her good friends, Carol Burnett, still alive as well.
Yeah, that's they were
unbelievable,
famously good friends. Famous friends.
Yeah, well, really got and Dick Van Dyke was a good friend of Carol Burnett.
Hey, Ron, what we want to do is next week we want to come back to this and name 2 more stars that are our favorites, male and female. Okay. I think we should do a part 2 on it because it just lends itself to talking about so many things, which we're veering off here into people that are still alive that were big stars in the 60s. And not many of them, but the ones that are, they're really alive. I mean, they're out and about, and you hear about them, read about them in the news every once in a while.
And the 60th anniversary of the Monkees TV series is coming up next year.
The what?
The 60th anniversary of the Monkees TV series is coming
Mickey
up.
Dolenz. Mickey Dolenz.
Yeah, Mickey's still kicking.
Yeah, we need to have Mickey.
We need to do that epic episode.
Hey, you need to have Mickey over at your house for the next step. Just give him a call and have him come over.
I'm sure it'll be just a real scene.
That's some good questions. Hey, I think that's about it, Ron. We're wrapping this thing up. Yeah. Boomer Bongo Boulevard. Don't forget to subscribe.
Bump it. Up to 30, baby. All right.
Okay, we finished it. Mary Tyler Moore. I never really thought